Hi, everybody. Gary Chavez here of GCRS Games. I am also a guest writer at Meeple Mountain, and today we're going to be talking about Tabletop Simulator. So, a couple of things I wanted to go over. My mouse here, you can see there's a kind of a halo, a little yellow circle around it. That's just something I got there to kind of highlight where my cursor is to make it easier to follow. You won't have that on your screen. This is not something Tabletop Simulator does. This is something I put on there, and you notice it'll also um, note the button clicks to make me easier to follow, and also it'll also highlight the buttons I press. So that's what that's about. So I want to do you a favor here. First off, if you got Tabletop Simulator up right now, you're probably noticing some wonderful music playing. Um, I stopped mine because that's the kind of music that just get in my head all day. And I want to show you how to stop it. So go into this top button here, configuration, and just left click there, and go to sound and this main menu volume. Yes, that's probably the music you have on right now. So if you want to turn that off, just slide it all the way to the left and you won't have to hear it. So, um, in my personal opinion, Tabletop Simulator is really clunky and unintuitive, um, but it's also one of the best programs at what it does. You will, if you've tried to bring up Tabletop Simulator and try to work it without any tutorials first or reading instructions, and if you failed miserably, if you just didn't get it, you're not alone. That was certainly my experience, and it's a lot of experience of most people, not if not all people that I've met who play Tabletop Simulator. But after a couple of times of playing around with it, you should get the hang of it, and it'll be a lot easier. You'll be really able to enjoy the game that you're playing. So, yeah, don't be discouraged if at first you don't get it. It takes a couple of tries first. If you couple of tips for Tabletop Simulator, if you have a mouse with a scroll wheel that is much easier than say your the touchpad on your laptop. It just makes things much easier. So this is a startup screen, and I want to show you. You don't have to press this, but I'm going to show you how to create a multiplayer game. You don't have to do this, but you just press create and press multiplayer, and this is where you would enter. You could create any name for this. I'll just put GCRS. GCRS. It's a server name, and you can create a password. And so this is, and you can also set number of max players. The server name and the password is what you'll tell your other players how to get onto your table. You give them the server name, you give them a password, and that's information you won't want to pass on. And I'll just create server here for a second. And so here's the table. And so people will look for GCRS games server and use GCRS games as a password. But let's get out of that. And we're back here. So if you wanted to join uh, someone's table, you would hit join and could put anything in there. See, and these are all the servers that are up. It would help whoever's creating a game to try to make a unique name for their as the server name. And it might take a while to, in my experience, sometimes it takes a couple of refreshes to find the server, but usually you do find it. It's not. It just takes Tabletop Simulator a while sometimes, especially on weekends when it gets really busy. So, well, let's turn that off. So instead of joining a multiplayer game or creating our own table, let's create a single player game. This is a great thing about Tabletop Simulator, so we'll just go to create in single player. It's sort of like a sandbox or a little playground that you can, as a single player, you can kind of do anything and just play around with the controls. So this is the game screen, you can bring up dominoes, chess. Here are the paid games. You'd have to see they're locked here, so you'd have to pay for them first. These are from these are games I subscribed through the workshop, and the workshop is how you will get um, mods, user created mods. That's the name for it. This is some of the prototypes I made for my games here. You can save a game any during the game, and it'll have all the components or whatever in the same place. So, but we're not going to go find the game. We're just going to go to NP Table and do our own thing here. So, uh, one of the first things I want you to look at is, especially if you're playing a multiplayer game, is up here to the upper right here. This is where all the players will be listed. And right now I'm the white player, and you can change this by yeah, left clicking, and you can change color. And you can pick any of these colors. Let's say I want to pick green, and I go to the green spot, and I'd be player green. But if I wanted to go back to the white player, I can. I can also be a spectator. That's the gray. I can watch, but I can't really manipulate anything. Uh, I can also be the black, which is the GM. Basically, then I see everything. I can manipulate everything. But I'm not assigned a spot on the table. So let's go back to, let's go over this too. Teams. This is one of the great features of Tabletop Simulator. You can be on specific teams. And what that allows you to do is talk privately. There's a private voice chat and a text chat feature to talk to your teammates, so you can talk without anyone else hearing about it or send messages back and forth. Um, if you don't, just a word about Tabletop Simulator's voice chat. It's a little spotty. It's okay. It's adequate. It works. And certainly if you are using it, if you're going to be using the voice chat feature, that's great. That'll work with this. But if you're not going to be doing that, I recommend using Discord. Discord is just more reliable, more clear in my opinion. And also, if for whatever reason, if Tabletop Simulator goes down, you still have Discord that you can talk and try to get back on track, try to get back up. If you're in voice chat and Tabletop Simulator goes down, the voice chat goes with it. Uh, so let's change color back to white. So this is the table for Tabletop Simulator, but this is not the only table you can have for Tabletop Simulator. This one specifically looks like it's for 4 players. So if you want to change the table for Tabletop Simulator, you can just go up to these, look at these, look up here at these buttons over here. Look at the one named, click on the one that says Objects, and you'll get to bring up this menu. And the second one down says Tables. Just go ahead and click on that. And these are the wide variety of tables you have on Tabletop Simulator. So you have, you can see you get a square, and you can have the hexagon, 6 players. You can also have the octagon, 8 players. Uh, you have round, you can have glass, even a poker table. I prefer to have a rectangle, just a lot more space. I just like to have a lot of space when I play games of Tabletop Simulator. You just have a lot more places to put your cards, and it's just easier to see stuff and just easier to play. That's just my preference, though. So the first thing I want to go over are the camera controls. You can use the the keyboard arrows to sort of rotate around the table here, and you can go up and down. Uh, this you can see the background. We're in some sort of alley. You can um, um, rotate up and down, and if you want to go back to the original view that you had, just press the space bar and go back there. You can also pan the table by using the WASD keys. So up, W, A to the left, D's to the right, and then S is down. And again, if you want to go back to the original view. press the space bar. And then you can use a scroll wheel to just kind of zoom in and out of Tabletop Simulator, and that's pretty handy. Oh, sorry about that. That's probably a little disorienting to go zoom in and out, but sorry about that. We'll try not to do that again. If you want to go back to the original view again, it's the space bar. You can bring up the uh, text chat by pressing the enter key, um, and then just type whatever you want there. There. And that's pretty handy, as I said, if your voice chat goes down. Um, we've had that a couple of times. Happen a couple of times where people's voice chat just their microphone cuts out or whatever, and you just have to enter the text chat. One of the things I want to show you is I've noticed from playing online games recently that there's a little etiquette that's developing. Um, If you notice here that in Tabletop Simulator, it'll put I think this is your Steam username automatically there, and it's supposed to be a unique name, so everyone's supposed to have a unique name, but trying to call people by their unique username is a little difficult at times. So you can go to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the seventh menu option down here. That's the text tool. And see what it allows you to do is you're right on the table. And this is great. And you can just type in your name right there. And go back to that and see, and people know what your first name is. And it's always nice to be able to call people by their first name during a game. What's also nice about this, if you go to the draw menu, I think that's the second one down here, and go to this, say like a box, you can draw on here. And so what I like to use this for is uh, maybe I'll draw a box around um, my cards or something like that. So I don't get my cards mixed up with someone else's cards. And this will draw in the color of whatever player color you are. And so sometimes games can get a bit crowded on these tables sometimes. And it's nice to be able to draw and say, okay, this is mine. Let's not get our our components mixed up. So you can also erase these objects here. So let's go back to draw and can see if this works. Is eraser? Sometimes that works. And you gotta hit just right. So if that doesn't work, you can just hit the scratch can and it'll erase all drawn lines. So there you go. Let's see if we can get rid of this, the text also. So get rid of the text too. So we're back to a blank table. So now we're gonna have some fun. Let's go back to that cursor. We're gonna have some fun with Tabletop Simulator and start manipulating objects in Tabletop Simulator. So here, let's go over this slowly again. Go to Objects, click on that, go to Components. And first thing we want to do is let's grab some player pawns here. Yellow is probably easiest to see in red, so drop a few. There you go. Just drop a few wherever. Go back to, you can press the escape key, go back to that menu. Uh, and let's also grab some dice. All right, let's put some d6s. And I'd love to put some d4s on there just for fun. And of course, some d20s. All right, then let's put some cards on the table. So go to cards, and let's just put a couple of standard decks on here. Let's put it over here for now. And we'll escape out of that. All right, there's tons of stuff you can do with these objects in Tabletop Simulator. So one of the fun things you can do is you can make these bigger. All right, so let's make this pawn bigger. Just kind of hover over, just point your cursor, or wait till it highlights it in your color. Um, just hover over it, and then go ahead and press the plus key, and you'll see you can make this huge. You can put down the object. Oh, so to pick up an object, all I'm doing is putting my mouse over it and holding left mouse button and then moving it and putting it back down. So I always, whenever I teach a tabletop simulator to people, I always get the question, what happens if you throw an object off the edge? So I say, well, try it, see what happens. This is a great place. No, nothing physically is gonna happen. So just go ahead and do it, see what happens. So I just throw it up, see what throw it there in empty space, see what happens to it, and it reappears. That's just what happens. Again, even if you put it on the other side of here, just drop it, it reappears. So you can even take the object and kind of throw it up there, see what happens, and it reappears. So, um, and you can always reduce this back in size just by pressing the minus key. Oh, I stopped hovering over it. That's the problem. There you go. Whoops. I gotta hover. Oh, let's put it on the center there. There you go. Okay. And again, even with like this, you can throw it off to the side and it will always reappear. There you go. Kind of fun. So this empty space is not really empty space. It'll always reappear near the table. So if you sometimes you'll have to look at objects. You can always let's focus in on this die here. You can always kind of scroll in. You can use the cursor, the WASD keys to kind of look in on that. Let's go back to the view. You can also hover over it and then press the Alt key, and it'll bring up it'll magnify it, bring a picture of it. You can also put your cursor over the object and press M, and it'll magnify whatever's on the table. So if you don't, if it's not a particular object you're looking at, if you're looking at several things, like suppose these two are there, and you can look at both. All right, so that's magnify. Uh, so let's look at dice. Let's move some of these objects around. So you can manipulate these pretty easy. You can even kind of throw them if you want to, like that. And if you want to set them right back up, just pick them up, put it over there. And as you saw before, you can make these and get these in all kinds of colors. It is fun to kind of throw them around. So dice. A couple ways you can do this. You can always kind of pick it up and throw them like I did with the other pawns here. And see, I got a 3 there. And it'll show you the number on the die there if you hover over it. You can also um, pick it up and kind of shake and put it back down, and it'll randomize it. So that one's a 6. You can also hover over it and press R, and that'll roll. There you go. You can also hover over it and then press the click on the right mouse button to get to this sort of menu, this object menu. And this is everything you can do to the object. There's a lot of stuff that you probably won't have to deal with, material, saved object, so forth. Yeah, so a lot of that I don't use, but if you want to roll it, you can roll it. All right. If you want to roll several of them, you can put them near, assuming they're near each other. You can always move them near each other. Start at the left upper corner of the dice. Press the left mouse key and then drag a box over them. And you can treat them like you would a single die. Just throw them. I can shake them. I can also just press R and use this menu. So several ways to do that. If you notice too, if you highlight all of them, Tabletop Simulator will add all. That's a really good roll. You can add them all up. You can also, for some games, you have to set it on a particular one. Say I want to set this 3, just hover over it, press 3, press 4, set it to, and you can see it's on 4. So yeah, and I always get the question, that's great, Gary, but what if you want to set it to, what if you have a 20-sided die, you want to set it to something higher than 10? Well, try it out, I always say. So let's say we want to set this to 12. It'll set to 12. You just kind of have to press the keys pretty fast. So if I press, let's see how slow I can do this. Yeah, you got to do it pretty slow to to not get it, but it'll go there. So you can also roll several types of dice together. So let's try this. Try that, and it'll add them up all for you. That's a terrible roll compared to the last one. Let's try that. Just gather them all up together. Just give it a little shake and then roll, or just press R, and then it'll give you the total. So pretty handy dandy tool for dice. All right, so now let's look at cards. Let's clean this up a little bit. Let's put this over here. Put these over there. And grab these. This can be tricky sometimes. You kind of, to grab a whole stack, you kind of have to hover, click, and wait till the whole stack goes up. You see, like, goes up like that. It takes about a second and a half. But if you just click on the move, it'll just grab one card. But if you grab and wait till it raises up, you can move the whole deck. That. And as I said before, if you probably noticed this, but if you create a selection box by using the left mouse key and just dragging the box around the cards, and you can, whoops, see, sometimes I do that. So wait, there you go. You can pick up both decks. So things you can do with these cards. Of course, you can shuffle them. One of the things, you just hover over the, and you see that 52 there. That's how many cards are in the deck. Actually, let's zoom in a little bit more on this. So, all right, if you want to shuffle the deck, there's lots of stuff you can do with these cards. You're probably going to want to shuffle it at some point. So, how you do that is you get your cursor and kind of hover it over the deck. And that 52 there is how many cards are in the deck in that particular stack that you're hovering over. So you hover over that, and one of the ways you can shuffle it is just simply by pressing R. And notice that if you remember, R was also the term used to roll the dice. I think R and Tabletop Simulator Land stands for randomize. So you can just press R. You can also grab the deck until the whole deck hovers, and then give it a good shake, and that'll shuffle it too. You can also use the object menu. Here, let's do that again. Hover over it, right click, and then hit shuffle. So one of the things you can also do is let's take some individual cards. So it's a little bit tricky. This is one of the trickier things Tabletop Simulator. You're just going to have to get a feel for it. Grabbing one card at a time as opposed to the whole deck. It takes a while to remember. See, even I'm doing to grab it really quick or hover over it and grab the whole deck. So you can, one of the things you can do also is flip the card over. So to hover over the card and press F, and that'll flip the card over. Now again, if you want to flip the whole thing, draw a box and flip them all. You can also, of course, flip using the menu. So if I wanted to put these all back in the stack here, I can put them. See here, do it again. So let's grab one. I can either put in one at a time. There you go. Or I can highlight them and then press G. You can press G and then pick the whole stack. and put it there. You can also rotate cards. Sometimes in a game you'll need to rotate cards. So let's grab a card here and let's flip it over. And you can rotate it by pressing the Q and E buttons. Oh, first of all, see this? Go up to this menu item over here, this top right end. You probably have a number 15 degrees up here. And that's how many degrees it'll rotate uh, whatever object you intend to rotate. That's how many degrees it'll rotate it. So right now, mine will rotate at 9 degrees, and you probably have 15. So if you want to change this, just hover over it and click the button, click the left mouse button, and then change it to 90. So as I said, if you hover over the card with your cursor and then press the E and Q keys, you can rotate. You can rotate that around. So, and if you add, let's say 30, so it'll set it back. So this just determines the number of degrees you're going to turn it. So I prefer to keep it on 90. So let's flip that back over, put that back there. All right, so you can also put these cards into your hand. There's a couple of ways to do that. You can one, grab a card and then bring it to your player area here, where your name is, where your username is, and just come back here, and you'll see a highlight there in your color, and just drop it in there, and that automatically puts it in your hand. When it's in your hand, when the card is face up, no one else can see it except for unless you're black, unless you're the GM. Um, and you can see everyone's cards. But as a white player, as the white player, I cannot see the blue player or the yellow player or the green players, and they can't see see my cards either. Um, so this represents the cards in your hand. So you can also instead of manually putting your cards there, you can also draw several cards. Say I wanted to draw 3 cards from this particular deck. I just hover over it with my cursor and press the number 3, and it'll deal me 3 cards. And now I have 4 cards total. And in here I can let's see if I can should be able to rotate. Yes, I can manipulate these as if they were on the table. Sometimes, and you can put a card down here. You can also flip a card over and put it down on the table. No one knows what it is, and you can always put it back in your hand. And I flip that over. So that's how to put cards into your hand, and you can highlight all of them and put them all down if you want to. Flip them over again, back, put them back all in your hand. You can also use the object menu and draw a card in your hand. That'll draw one. You can also deal cards to other players. All right. So that's cards in your hand. Can you? Okay. And if you press H, it will hide the cards in your hand from your view. Sometimes that gets in the way when you're playing. You just press H to bring it back up or make them go away. So let's put them back all there. And then as we've done before, we can group them, we can flip them, and restack them. So that's everything you can basically do with cards and pawns and dice. A couple of fun other things I wanted to show you on Tabletop Simulator. It has some very unique features. If you go to this left-hand menu here and go to Flick, okay, just click on that. And the way you use this is you highlight an object. Let's highlight this one, and you press the left mouse button and you kind of draw back. Oh, and right off the table. It's easier with dice. I'm trying to hit him. There you go. You can flick objects, so you can really flick them. Really good. So here's that. Oops. Oops. And let's turn that object back. There you go. I'll grab that dice back. So that's Flick. It's always kind of fun to play with. However, it can if you have a player that just endlessly plays with this, it can get a little annoying. So this is something as a host you can turn off. So you can turn it off with options and permissions and flicking. Now as the host, I can still do this, but when I click this off, none of the other players will be able to do it. As you can, and also as you can see, there is a table flip um, checkbox. So you can flip the table. It's not really important in terms of gameplay, but it's a fun thing to watch. And so you can keep it on or turn it off. Let's keep it on. So be a great way to end this video. So the flip button is over here, and this is always fun to do. So you just I think I need this thing. Hit the flip. There you go. Flip the whole table. Well, that's it for the tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, or I'll put my email in the comments in the description box too if you want to email me. But otherwise, that's it. Thanks for watching this tutorial.